Have you ever seen a little animal that looks like it's wearing a suit of armor? That amazing creature is an armadillo. The name armadillo comes from a Spanish word that means little armored one, and honestly, it's just the perfect name for them. Their bodies are covered in a special shell made of bony plates, kind of like a shield. This shell isn't one solid piece though. It has bands in the middle that let the armadillo bend and move around. This built-in armor is one of the most incredible things about these animals, and it really helps keep them safe from other animals that might want to eat them. This protective shell is truly a masterpiece of nature. It's made from real bone that grows right out of their skin, and it's covered by a tough layer of keratin, which is actually the same stuff our fingernails are made of. When an armadillo feels threatened, it can curl up to protect its soft belly, leaving only the hard shell exposed. Not all armadillos can roll into a perfect, tight ball, but the three-banded armadillo is a master at it. This defensive trick makes it super hard for predators to get a bite, turning the armadillo into a nearly unbreakable little tank that can just wait for danger to pass. Underneath that tough exterior, an armadillo has a surprisingly soft and furry belly. They also have strong legs with long, sharp claws. These aren't for fighting, but for digging. Armadillos are expert excavators. They use their powerful claws to dig burrows to live in and to search for their favorite foods. Their diet mostly consists of insects, grubs, and other small invertebrates that they find by sniffing around with their pointy noses and digging into the soil. They're kind of like little gardeners, always turning over the earth as they search for a tasty meal. The armadillo's body is built for a slow and steady life. They don't need to be fast runners because their armor gives them all the protection they need. Instead, they can take their time, carefully sniffing the ground for food. They have a very low metabolism, which means their bodies use energy really slowly. This is a great advantage in the hot places where they live, since it means they don't need to eat as much food as other mammals of their size. This slow-paced, energy-saving lifestyle has helped armadillos survive on Earth for a very, very long time. Armadillos are part of a very old and unique group of mammals called Xenarthra. That's a big word that means strange joints. This name was given to them because they have extra joints in their lower back and hips, making their skeletons super strong, especially for digging. This ancient family also includes some other very interesting animals, the slow-moving sloths that hang from trees and the long-nosed anteaters that slurp up ants and termites. Even though they look very different, armadillos, sloths, and anteaters are all distant cousins, sharing a common ancestor that lived millions of years ago. This family of strange jointed animals first appeared in South America, when it was an island continent, completely separate from the rest of the world. Because they were isolated for so long, they evolved in very special ways, without competition from many other types of mammals. The armadillo's ancestors were some of the first to develop. Scientists believe that the Cingulata order, which includes all armadillos, split off from their sloth and anteater relatives over 60 million years ago. That means armadillos have been walking the earth since just after the time of the dinosaurs. The story of how the armadillo got its shell is still a bit of a mystery. Scientists have found fossilized pieces of armadillo shells that are 55 million years old, but they haven't found a fossil of an armadillo ancestor that didn't have a shell. It seems that this amazing armor evolved very early in their history. The low metabolism and slow movements of their ancestors might have made having armor a really good idea. If you can't run away from danger quickly, having a protective shell to hide under is the next best thing for survival. Being related to sloths and anteaters makes a lot of sense when you think about their shared traits. All three groups of animals tend to have lower body temperatures and slower metabolisms compared to most other mammals. This is a primitive trait, meaning it's something their ancient ancestors had, and it has worked for them for millions of years. This shared heritage connects the armored armadillo, the hanging sloth, and the slurping anteater into one of the most fascinating and oldest mammal families on the planet, all originating from the ancient lands of South America. The armadillos we see today are relatively small, but their ancient relatives were true giants. Imagine an armadillo the size of a small car. That was the glyptodont. These enormous herbivorous relatives of armadillos roamed South America for millions of years. Unlike modern armadillos, with their flexible bands, glyptodonts had a single, massive, dome-shaped shell that was like a fortress. They could weigh up to 2 tons, which is as heavy as a rhinoceros. Their huge bodies were supported by stocky, powerful legs, and they had large jaws for grinding up tough plants. These were not the only giants in the family. There were other incredible prehistoric armadillos too. One group, called Pamphotheres, were about the size of a pig, and grazed on the grasslands of South America. Then there was a truly fearsome creature called Macroeuphractus, a carnivorous armadillo that was as big as a leopard. With its sharp teeth, it probably hunted other animals or scavenged for food, and perhaps the most unusual of all was Peltephalus, a dog-sized armadillo that lived 20 million years ago and had horns on its head, which it might have used for fighting. For a long time, scientists thought glyptodonts were only distant cousins of modern armadillos, but recent DNA studies from fossils revealed a huge surprise. It turns out that glyptodonts are actually nested right inside the armadillo family tree, and their closest living relative is one of the smallest armadillos of all, the tiny, 5-inch-long pink fairy armadillo. It's really amazing to think that the giant, 2-ton glyptodont is most closely related to a creature so small and delicate. This discovery shows us just how much diversity there can be within a single animal family over millions of years. Some of these giant armored beasts had even more amazing features. A glyptodont named Didicurus had a long tail that ended in a huge, spiked club, kind of like a medieval mace. This tail was likely a powerful weapon, but probably not for fending off predators. Scientists believe they swung these spiky clubs at each other, fighting for territory or mates, much like some animals do today. These incredible giants were a successful group, but they eventually disappeared about 10,000 years ago, likely due to a changing climate and hunting by early humans. After millions of years of living only in South America, some armadillos made a great journey. About 3 million years ago, a land bridge formed connecting North and South America, and many animals began to migrate. The armadillos were one of the few groups from the south that successfully moved north and thrived. Today, the 9-banded armadillo is a common sight in the southern United States, and it continues to expand its territory northward. These modern armadillos are much smaller than their giant ancestors, with most being about the size of a large cat. Today there are around 20 different species of armadillos, and they all live in the Americas. Most of them are found in the warm, tropical and semi-tropical environments of Central and South America. Their low body temperature and sparse fur make them poorly suited for the cold, which is why you won't find them in snowy regions. They are typically nocturnal, meaning they are most active at night when they come out of their burrows to forage for insects, worms, and sometimes plants or fruit. They are opportunistic omnivores, eating whatever they can find. Armadillos play an important role in their ecosystems. As they dig for food, they turn over and mix up the soil. This process, called bioturbation, helps to aerate the soil and allows nutrients to spread, which is great for plant growth. By eating huge numbers of insects, they also help to control insect populations. This makes them a natural form of pest control. Although they can sometimes be a nuisance to people by digging up lawns and gardens, their contribution to the health of the environment is very important and often overlooked. From their ancient car-sized cousins to the small, burrowing animals we know today, armadillos are a story of survival. Their unique armor, slow-paced lifestyle, and ancient heritage make them one of the most fascinating mammals on Earth. They are a living link to a lost world of giant beasts and a reminder of how evolution can create incredible and surprising solutions for life. The next time you see an armadillo, remember you are looking at a modern marvel with a truly prehistoric past, a little armored one that has successfully trundled through millions of years of Earth's history.